palms are resting up against the floor. Begin to notice the heat difference. Maybe the heat is emanating from your hands into your knees. And I just want you to focus on that temperature. Notice that this is coming from your body, that warming sensation. And for a moment, just notice the temperature around your body. Maybe you can feel the slight kiss of the air kind of surrounding your arms, your legs, your face. Just really bringing that attention to the temperature. And now as you take your breath, your inhale, notice how the air comes into your body cool. And maybe almost use the temperature of your body to warm the air and release the air from your body. And with each exhale, try to make your body a little bit more relaxed and a little more comfortable. So maybe that might mean you're shifting your weight from side to side a little bit to connect in through your sits bones. Or maybe you're finding a little bit more softness through the hips and a little more opening through the knees. And as you exhale, let's pay special attention to our shoulders. And I want you to imagine that as you're exhaling, you're releasing little small bricks, a little bit of weight off the shoulder. You can almost try to imagine them falling off each of the shoulders to lighten the load. And then bring your attention to your jaw. And just notice the jaw joint and the structure of the jaw. You can touch it if you want to, or you can just imagine the shape of it. And then try to see if as you exhale you can soften your jaw, and you can almost feel the joint begin to loosen and feel heavy. You can maybe even separate your teeth and allow the tongue to release from your palate. And let's take about 4 or 5 breaths here and soften through the eyes as well. And let's take a moment here to just notice how you feel right now. Notice if your thoughts are beginning to wander. And notice what thoughts are trying to take you away from this space, if any. And for about 2 breaths, I want you to just focus on every little ounce of the breath entering the body. So notice all the little nuances, but inviting all that sensation into your body. So the softness of the jaw, the softness of the shoulders. And keep the mind clear. Just try to keep it for just a couple of breaths. And then taking that sensation with you, bring your hands to heart center. And notice the energy between the palms of the hands, the tips of the fingers. And notice the heat that you have within each hand to each other. That sense of prana, that energy, life force. And for a moment, take this opportunity to set your intentions for your practice. And then as you're ready, keep your eyes closed, if they are closed. And if they're open, maintain a nice soft gaze. And then we're going to begin to invite some breath deeper into the body. As we circle sweep the arms, we're going to invite breath and a bit of movement. Gently extending out the arms, and then as we exhale, release the breath. And we're going to take a few cleansing breaths here. So releasing any tension from the body, inhaling, deepening the breath, and then feel free to really release the breath, like and breathe in, and then completely release out. And one more time, breathe in and release. And then as you're ready, begin to flutter the eyes slightly and gently open. And if you're seated, we're going to make our way lying down onto our back with our knees bent and about hip distance apart. Actually, we're going to bring them about as wide as our mat. And we're going to begin with some windshield wipers. So it's a really nice way to begin to invite some twists into our body and loosen up through the pelvic area. So lying down comfortably on your back, first begin to notice the spine resting down onto the floor. And notice the feet maybe resting comfortably wider than your hips and about as wide as the mat. And take your arms and rest them to your sides and take a moment to flatten out the shoulder blades. You're going to allow the shoulders to rest down towards the floor. And then as you're ready, begin to move one knee in towards center while the other knee opens up, and then bring the opposite knee in towards center while letting the other one just open up. And I want this to feel really nice and fluid. So just allow this gorgeous movement of body to be one that's almost like a wave in the ocean. They just kind of crash into each other together. Not a specific rule. There's just a beautiful flow. And just notice how you might be able to soften through the low back. And keeping the shoulders connected down to the floor. And there's almost like this wave of the feet kind of flowing from the outer edge to the inside edge of the foot. And you begin to maybe start to feel the legs feeling a little bit more mobile, a little bit more fluid. And then as you're ready, we'll slowly begin to slow our windshield wipers down and come back through center. And as you're ready, we'll begin to toe heel the feet a little bit closer to center, and then maybe bring the heels in a little closer towards our glutes, our bum area. And pressing the feet into the floor just to be able to create that sense of connection from the sole of the feet. We're going to move into our bridges. As you're ready, take a deep inhale in and then pull the belly in. I want you to feel the lowering of the low back into the floor and then peel your spine up towards the sky, opening up the chest, opening up the heart, and still feeling that sense of spreading of the shoulder blades into the floor, opening up of the hips, and reaching through the knees and really inviting length from shoulder tip to knee. And then as you're ready, begin to articulate down on your exhale, bringing yourself back down to the earth. And we're going to flow here about 4 more times. So feel free to go at your own perfect pace. Open up the front body. And I want you to see if you notice that your back is starting to arch and you're lifting up a little too high through the pelvis, try to keep it nicely aligned with your shoulders and your knees. We're just inviting some mobility through the spine, some articulation, but also awareness of our spine and its movement. And we don't have to come up too high. We really want to take care that we're honoring our body today. And maybe it could be just a gentle lift, just to invite a little bit of that sensation into the, the back body. And we'll finish off with one more. And lift up. And slowly, at your own pace, bring yourself back down. And release your sacrum down to the floor. So find a little bit of space there for your low back to rest. Let it feel a little heavy. And then bring the knees in towards your chest. And we're just going to draw the knees in towards the heart, lengthen down through the spine, and give ourselves a nice little gentle hug. And then maybe even give our ankles a little rotation, a little movement through the joint. And at your own perfect pace, we're going to bring our feet back down to the floor, and we're going to open up our arms out to the side as we come into our first spinal twist. And as you're ready, begin to draw the knees over to the right side. And before we move into this space, we want to be able to see if we can hook stack the hip joint, knee joint, as well as the ankle joint. And I like to use blocks underneath my knees, maybe to help prop up my legs a little bit. Sometimes that's more comfortable. And we're just trying to notice as well the organs kind of twisting and wringing themselves out. And we're also giving our upper thoracic spine a nice twist. And if you want to, you can also twist your gaze into the opposite direction. That's a really nice way to also move through the neck. And we're coming back to a place where our shoulders still feel really nice and flat and grounded to the earth. And just notice how this feels. Notice if you can soften the belly. And see if that top leg can lengthen just a tad bit further so that the knees and hips are still aligned. The left shoulder might slightly reach up off the ground, and that's really okay. We just want to see if we can soften through the shoulders and let them rest down towards the earth. And then as you're ready, while we're going to get ready to move out of this pose, take your time to start to kind of untwist your spine from your upper back, mid back, and lower back. And then bring your knees back through center. And then just shift your pelvis if you kind of shifted over a little bit to the left. And then come over and we'll twist our legs over to the left side. And maybe shift our left pelvic hip bone over to the right. Again, we're trying to stack the joints right on top of each other as best as we can, maybe even taking a block to raise the legs up so that they feel comfortable, so that you can really twist your body here without kind of straining to keep the legs together. And then feel free to twist towards your gaze towards the right. Your chest is nice and open here. And just take a moment to notice the top leg. See if the knee can reach a little longer. The upper spine is nice and twisted, and we're giving that upper back a really nice rotation. This is such a great opportunity in the spine to create a little bit more mobility, a little bit more opening through the chest. And then as you're ready, we'll slowly bring our feet back through center. And then we're going to roll over onto our right side. So I like to take my right arm and cradle it right underneath my crown. And my knees are going to stack once again. And my back is going to lengthen on so like if I had the outer edge of my mat, it would kind of be right in a line with my spine from crown to head. So I'm nice and long through my torso. My knees are pulled up slightly up towards my belly button. The left arm is going to extend out. I've got the right arm underneath and just cradling my crown. But if you want to extend your arm out, you can. Or if you want to place a pillow here, you can. What you just want to do is keep your spine aligned with the crown, your crown aligned with the rest of the cervical spine. The left hand is going to reach out, and I just want you to take a nice inhale and reach a little further away. Feel that stretch through the shoulder, and then guide the arm up towards the sky on your inhale. As you exhale, open and twist without moving the pelvis as you open up the chest here. So we moved into our twist with our legs, and now we're moving our upper body, but keeping our legs nice and stuck in space. And then as you inhale, bring your arm up towards the sky, and then exhale, bring the left hand and close it down towards the earth. Inhale, reach a little bit through the left hand and open up, and just want to create some space through the shoulder girdle. And then exhale, open up and twisting towards the left. And your arm might not come down towards the floor. It might just kind of hover in space. You're going to feel a nice stretch through the armpit area. And then inhale, come back through towards the sun, and then exhale, close. And just feel free to flow here a few more times. And exhale, open the chest. Keep your belly pulled in. Sometimes we kind of collapse through the torso. We lose the activation through the abdominals. We want to keep the abs nice and active here. I'm going to help really keep the alignment in the spine. And back through center. And we'll do 2 more. And back through center. And on our last one, let's bring our hand up. And as we find our left arm maybe reaching towards the sky, we're going to take the left arm and open it up onto the diagonal as if you're trying to do a Y with your arms. So think of the YMCA. Take the left leg and extend it out long. And there's a slight rotation through the upper spine. And we're just going to really stretch that fascial line. It's such a gorgeous stretch. And that left leg is extended out long, and we've got our gorgeous fascial line from fingertip to toe here, so it just stretches out that space. And just take a couple of deep breaths. Allow the arm to open up, really stretch in through the armpit, through the shoulder. And then as you're ready, bring your hand up to the sky, rest the top of the left foot right onto the right, and then come back down and release the hand. We're going to go through that on the other side, and I'll just shift my body over. So cradling the crown of the head with your left arm. staying tall through the torso, so not collapsing the rib cage down towards the floor, but pulling up through the belly, maybe even shifting your hip down a little bit so you're nicely aligned. Knees are drawn in towards the belly. Right arm is going to extend out long. Find yourself comfortable here. On your inhale, take your right arm and just reach it a little further back and guide it up to the sky. Exhale, open the chest. And then inhale back up to the sky, and then exhale, close, and bring the hand down to the earth. And just continue to flow here at your own perfect pace. I've been cueing the breath, and sometimes I cue the breath a little too much, and I think it gets us a little worried that we're not breathing correctly. So just breathe. Don't worry about it. Just breathe. One thing about us human bodies and humans, we tend to adapt really quickly, and our bodies will figure out the breath on its own. So don't get too worried about the breathing pattern. It'll happen. And it's almost like you begin to naturally breathe deeper, softer, because it just invites that sense of opening into the body. As you twist in through the torso, you can begin to maybe notice your intestinal area getting a little squeeze, a little detoxification. And back through center. And no matter where you are, let's just take a moment and let's find all of us back at center, back with our right arm extended. I'll just wait a second or two for everybody to meet ourselves here. And then let's all take our right hand up to the sky. We're going to open up on that diagonal. So opening up so that the gaze is almost in towards the armpit. The armpit's kind of right in our peripheral vision. The right arm leg is going to extend out long and give that fascial line a nice stretch, a nice opening. Keep the right hip long, but try to find a bit of softness through that right arm as it rests down and opens up. And as you're ready, you begin to bring the right arm back up to the sky, bend the left knee, and rest it right down onto the floor. All right, let's come on to all fours. And we're going to move into child's pose. If you have knee issues, I encourage you to take a blanket or to flip your mat over so that it's softer on the knees. We're going to go into a needle and thread, so we want to be able to twist our body. Now, if that doesn't work coming into child's pose, we can do needle and thread in our all fours position, where we open up towards the sky and then we needle and thread underneath. If that doesn't work for you, we can just rest your knees on a mat here so it's nice and soft for your knees. So you want to be able to find some comfort there. Now, if none of that works, I want you to maybe find a table in your house or a chair. And you can do the same thing, resting up on a chair and opening up and needle and threading the arm underneath to create a little bit of rotation through the upper spine. So coming down onto our knees with our knees wide and our big toes together, we're going to open up through the hips, press our heels down to our glutes down towards our heels, and extend our arms out just to begin in child's pose with a little stretch through the low back. Now, if you're standing and you're doing this, same thing. Reach the hands out, press the tailbone down, and give your back a nice little stretch here. And if you are resting your hands up against a table or a chair, just make sure it's safely secured so it doesn't shift and, reach forward. And then as you're ready, we'll take the left hand and reach it out a little longer, a little further away from our body. We're going to slide the right hand over to the right side. And we're going to first begin by inhaling and creating a slight rotation of the upper spine and twisting again with the right arm. And then as we exhale, needle and thread the right underneath the left and just push the shoulder away from the ears. And then just invite a little bit of oppositional sensation here. So we're stretching the shoulders, we're getting a little twist through the upper body. The left hand is extended out long, giving that shoulder a nice stretch. And you want to try to keep the hips stuck in space, so the hips are not lifting and twisting with you, but rather still reaching long towards the tailbone. And then as you're ready, press the left hand into the floor to lift your upper body. Take the right arm and extend that out long. We're going to slide the left hand over to the left side and twist the left towards the left, reaching with the left arm. And it could be a gentle twist, not too forceful. And then bring the left hand underneath the right, twisting towards the right side. And just drop the shoulder away from the ear, reaching with the right arm nice and long, and thinking about that sense of opposition here. And then as you're ready, press the right hand into the floor and slowly lift your body and press the hands down into the mat. Reach back into child's pose. Give that low back and the spine a nice little stretch. And then at your own perfect pace, begin to inhale and come into all fours. We're going to move through some cat-cows and then to some tail wags. So if you're doing this standing, you are still going to do the rounding and the extension. Just rest your hands flat onto the back of a chair or onto a table. If you're down on your knees, our back is long, our spine is long, and our head is stacked up right onto the rest of our spine. Hands are pressing into the floor. On our inhale, we're going to arch the low back and lift up through the heart. Let the belly drop down towards the floor. And on our exhale, we're going to pull the belly in and round the upper back. Press the hands into the floor and tuck the chin in towards the chest. Inhale, let the belly drop and the heart lift. Exhale, pull the belly in, round the spine, and draw out the gaze between the knees. And just continue to flow here with one breath and one movement. And as you open up the front body, let the belly just drop. Try not to hold any tension in the abdominal muscles. Just allow the belly to feel free to just let loose. And round the spine, tuck your chin and tuck your tail. Opening and pull the belly in. And open and pull the belly in. Beautiful. Let's do that a couple more times. Keeping the breath really nice and deep. Continuing to breathe with our Ujjayi breath, our victorious breath. And lift. And pull the belly in. Beautiful. Then as you're ready, come back with a long spine. Notice if your back is arching a little, take that tailbone, tuck it slightly under, and then you're going to keep your hips stuck in space. And as you exhale, you're going to bring your right ear towards your right hip. You're going to feel this opening through the left rib cage. As you exhale, inhale, you come back through center, and then exhale over to the other side. Just offering a nice side bend here. And over, ear to hip, back through center, and ear to hip. Open up that side body. And you'll notice I'm trying not to use my shoulders here. Really want to just keep this lateral movement, almost like I'm holding the whole shape of my crown, my shoulders. The only thing moving here is the side of my body. And and back through center. I'm going to finish off with one more on either side. And back through center and over to the other side. And back through center. Beautiful. Now, let's press up onto our heels. Now, we're going to come into a kneeling lunge. Again, if you have any sort of knee sensitivity, you can roll your mat down and roll it so you've got some nice comfort underneath the knees. Alternatively, you can stand up and you can do a standing kind of lunge, very short stance so that we're supported and we don't have to be kneeling. Now, if you are going to be standing, we are going to go into some twists, so we're not going to do maybe quite the same variation, but I do want you to twist your maybe towards the sky. If you're kneeling down onto the floor, we're going to take that right knee back and the left foot forward. And I've got a nice big stance here. I've taken that left leg and I've brought it a little bit further so I can open up a little bit through the right hip. And the knee is stacked right on top of the ankle. I've got a little angle in my right leg. Now, as you're ready, let's guide the hands up towards the sky. And then we're just going to twist our body just a little towards the left and then extend the arms out. And just feel a little bit of that wringing out. And we don't want to force too much of a twist, but we just want to invite a little bit of that rotation. And then as you're ready, swim both hands up towards the sky. And then we're going to twist towards the other direction. And again, think about moving through the shoulders. The pelvis is aligned. We're not shifting the pelvis over, just twisting the torso. And let's repeat that a couple more times. Reach up and over. So if we're standing, we're just twisting from one side to the other. For kneeling, we're holding our hip open and also twisting from one side to the other. And one more round. And you want to stay lifted through the spine so you've got as much space through the vertebrae. And then as you're ready, let us all meet with our arms outstretched, dropping down through the hip. Palms are going to come together. Elbows are going to extend out to the side. We're going to twist the right elbow towards the left knee and come into our twisted lunge. Shoulders are square. Heart is lifted. Gaze might be towards the sky. Really gentle movement here. And if you want a little different level of intensity, you can open up the arms. Coming back to that beautiful chest opener. And then as you're ready, bring the palms together. Extend the arms up overhead. And then exhale, frame the front foot. We're going to take the left leg back and shake it off side to side. Maybe do a little bit of movement through the hips just to kind of loosen up through the hip area and the knees. And then we'll take our right foot all the way forward. And don't be shy. Take your hand, help it forward. Why not? And I like to bend. I've got a little bit of tenderness in my left knee, so I am going to roll my mat over here. And that's going to offer me a little bit of that softness underneath the kneecap. So again, coming into this space in this kneeling lunge, we're opening up through the hips. The right knee is stacked right on top of the right ankle. And just let your body weight draw down, opening up through the hips. And then as you're ready, and take your time, just find yourself maybe with your arms lifted up towards the sky. And just establishing a long spine here, tuck the tail slightly under, and then feel free to begin to twist between one side and the other. And think about wringing out the body. And think about anything that we want to squeeze out from our body. I'm thinking of the cake I had yesterday. It was good. Don't want to totally wring it out right now, but And just twist one side and then the other. And you want to be able to be cognizant that we're not twisting through the pelvis. So the pelvis is staying nicely aligned. And we'll finish up with one more. And then as you're ready, reach your hands up to the sky, shoulder distance apart. Bring the palms together. We're going to twist our torso towards the right. Left elbow's going to rest on the right knee. We're going to open up the heart, turn the gaze up towards the sky, shift forward, open up the hip. And then if you want a little more, you can open up the heart, reach the arms. And then bring the palms together, twist towards center, reach the arms, take a breath. Swim both hands on either side of the right foot, and we're going to bring our right foot back. Whoa. Coming onto our sits bones, we're going to sit down and lengthen through the legs. Now we're going to move into a bit of a twisted boat here. This is one of our last movements of the day. So boat is a really nice way to work the abdominals. And I like to kind of bring my heels into the ground as that foundational place where I kind of just establish a nice grounding through my sits bones and through my heels. My upper body is nice and lifted, and I'm going to lean back. And as I lean back, I'm beginning to feel that activation through the abdominals. My clavicles are wide, my heart is open, my hands are feather touching right behind the thighs. And we're coming back just to that point where you start to feel the low abs start to turn on. Now from here, we can stay here. Or we begin to lift the feet one and then the other. Or you're alternating sides. And just feel free to kind of play around with it. Now sitting up tall, we may begin to our arms out overhead. Or straight forward, sorry. And then maybe we begin to twist our boat. Now, if your legs and your heels are down onto the ground, you can still do this. You can begin to create this really nice fluid movement from side to side, wringing out any extra little bits that need to be wrung out. Try to breathe. And one more on either side. And then as you're ready, come back through center. Slowly bring the feet down to the floor. Keep your hands right underneath your knees and start to roll down, vertebrae by vertebrae. And as you do so, bring your right knee in towards chest and then your left. Rest your shoulders. And then as you're ready, anchor down through the sacrum. Extend the legs up to the sky. Rest the hands maybe at your thighs, maybe your knees are bent, bringing them to the calf muscle, and just gently guide the heels, the feet up overhead, toes are reaching behind you, giving your hamstrings a little stretch. And then slowly bend your knees and bring the feet down to the floor. And we'll extend our legs out if that feels comfortable and come into Shavasana. If there's another position you want to be in, maybe with your knees knocked together, or in reclining butterfly with the soles of the feet together and the knees are wide. Go ahead and do whatever it takes in whatever position feels right. And let's take a few deep breaths just to savor how we feel, honor our space. Just begin to deepen our breath. If you want to stay in a longer Shavasana, I implore you to do what feels good for you. So feel free to stay here a little longer. Otherwise, maybe we can begin to move our fingers and our toes. And as you're ready, perhaps just for today, roll onto your favorite side and take a moment. Just take a moment. Just to transition. And at your own perfect pace, you can either choose to stay here a little longer or take your top arm and start to press yourself up into Sukhasana, into easy seated position. We'll close our practice with our hands at heart center. Taking a moment to reflect upon the intention that we set at the beginning of our practice today. May your heart always stay warm, and may your smile always stay broad. And may the light that shines in me always honor the light that shines in you. Namaste.